man, do I want to get fucked up.
Get fucked up?
Whoa.
Well,
that works out well.
Aren't we supposed to be seeing a certain, like, a way? We're supposed to be seeing some sort of way.
I think we're supposed to see stoned, motherfucker.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I'm working on seeing stoned. I'm working on being cross-eyed.
Well, speaking of seeing stoned, welcome, guys. Hi, all, to a brand new podcast show, video show, limited series here that will be called The Blunt Truth Presents Seeing Stoned, guys.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Hey, I am Scotty P, as some of you may know from the Geek Fathers or even a regular panelist on the Geeks Under the Influence Network, here to help moderate, somehow keep these other two under control.
You can't control me.
No, you can't do that.
I can't control that, but I'm going to try. But guys, welcome. I'm glad to be a part of this Blunt Truth limited series. We're going to be talking about some great movies, experiences, everything involving the weed. So, and some more content as well, but you'll see as the show goes along. So just to kick us off here, just so you know who you're seeing and who you're hearing across all this, besides, I don't know why we did put my face on here, but God bless you all for looking. To my left, you will see Mr. Casey Martin.
Cheers, cheers, cheers. Resident stoner.
Resident stoner, our tech guru, sound engineer, and he literally slept his way onto this show.
So true. So true.
He did. And in case you, because it's not with me, so to my right, Miss Becky Gaskill here, who has been wonderful enough to bring us great indie content of The Blunt Truth, creator, writer, director of, you may have seen the series on YouTube of The Blunt Truth Presents DTF with Maggie and MJ.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to hang out with a stoner? Well, look no further. Meet Maggie and MJ, two sisters that are just trying to make it in this world, doing weird shit that'll make you say, "Fuck."
Welcome to your show.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm glad we could have you on your own show.
Wow.
This is wonderful.
Yeah.
So, guys, now that you know who the players are currently, we're going to be talking about some fun stuff. Today is really our intro episode. This is a limited series. It's not going to be ongoing, so we're going to keep the content very heavy, but at the same time fun. And to start that off, what we're going to do, I think we have a great list of movies that we'll be talking about throughout the episodes. Basically a movie an episode, maybe 2 movies per episode, depending on what really goes together. There's going to be some well-known ones, maybe a little bit more not as known, depending on your age. So we'll say that much. But to kick this off, our great creator, Becky, what's the first couple movies after this episode are we going to be looking at to really kick off this limited series?
So the best part about this limited series is we are analyzing stoner films. So the stoner films that we're going to go through is we're going to pick out not necessarily like a top 10, but some of the most iconic stoner films that we've either heard of, you've seen, and kind of analyze them maybe through, say, a podcast you've heard, like the Rewatchables or one of those, like your regular popular film podcasts. So one of my biggest influences is Kevin Smith. A lot of people watch Kevin Smith. It's their stoner films.
For sure.
So one of our second episodes is going to be specifically about Kevin Smith.
Yo! These guys need to turn those frowns upside down. And I got just the thing for that. We call it doobie snacks.
Either as a director, some of his films that are notable as stoner films, and go through maybe even like his whole list of all his films.
Right.
Another one that it's a big one, and I know it's a huge one for Casey. Big Lebowski, and discuss.
The dude abides.
Yeah.
I am not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude.
The Casey abides. He always abides.
Yeah, that's
That's how you got on the show. I already covered that.
Yeah. Casey likes to think he's the dude.
I wish I were the dude. I wish I was like as smart and as stoned at the same time. Because he was like relatively brilliant, but like everything like sort of hazed over, like the weed hazed over like his brilliance and like kept him at a.
But you didn't even bowl.
Huh?
You don't even bowl.
My sport is music, so it's
I feel like you found this as a self-discovery movie, but
Yeah.
We'll definitely get more into that on the actual Lebowski episode.
Yeah, we're also gonna we're gonna look into a couple of like one of my favorites and like a way more modern one. Pineapple Express, you know, that was a huge sort of like opening to the world about a drug dealer movie, you know.
Of the dopest dope I've ever smoked. Hands down, dopest dope I've ever smoked. Right?
It was a way bigger, higher budget. They're like, we're gonna make an action movie like about weed.
James Bond stoner film.
Have you seen an action movie? Have you seen an action movie on
Weed.
Well, that involves a totally another movie we'll talk about later too.
And then like one of my personal favorite movies of all time is Friday. I quote Friday constantly in my life.
Take it. Ain't like you got shit to do tomorrow. You don't have to go to work.
I named one of my dogs Craig just so I could say, Craig, every time I'm in the kitchen, you in the kitchen eating up all the food, because that was true and it made me laugh every single day.
Fair enough. And well, speaking of favorites, a couple more I know that I'm looking forward to as well. Besides, again, some like Kevin Smith, notably, and other ones are like Dazed and Confused was because, again, showing what type of old man that I am, I saw this movie in high school.
Yeah.
And it really does give a great throwback to, obviously, it's not 100% true to real life, but it does give a great aspect of the way the smoking the weed was and being, you know, in high school, finding your way back in the 70s and stuff.
George toked weed. Man. Absolutely, George toked weed. Are you kidding me, man? He grew fields of that stuff, man. That's what I'm talking about.
It hit right in my heart. What can I say? Even though I was a '90s kid in high school,
That's what started the all right.
that's right. The Mr. Matthew McConaughey, his starring role
oh,
or
starting career.
starting his You knew what I meant. I told you. Again, that's why I don't understand why I'm on these shows, but I am. People still like me for some reason, but I'm here to. I'm controlling myself more than you two at this point. But, and speaking of control, Harold and Kumar go to White Castle.
Marijuana kills.
I love that shit. We're so high right now.
Yeah.
Talk about losing control. This movie is the epitome of that stoner and then finding that right munchie afterwards is really the most simplistic way to describe it. And it makes for a fun story.
And if there's ever a thing that was like Murphy's Law exists, like that's basic to me. That's like the basic premise.
Oh,
of
yeah.
Harold and Kumar is like everything that could go wrong. Oh yeah, we're gonna do that.
It's
in this movie.
gonna
Everything.
go wrong.
Y'all want to go to White Castle? Let's do everything wrong.
Exactly.
And speaking of like aged films, it's definitely like you can't create a stoner list without putting a whole episode based for Cheech and Chong.
Hijo de la chingada. Is that a joint, man? That goddamn looks like a quarter pounder, man.
Like they are the pinnacle of stoner films. So we're definitely have to do a whole episode on Cheech and Chong films.
Oh yeah.
And this is like
Godfathers of the marijuana
of
film.
the beginning films.
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
You know, like our parents' stoner films, as you can say.
Oh yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
True.
And speaking to another one, maybe not as old, well, it's still pretty old now. Now it's 20 years old. Now that I think about it, is
Probably
How High.
25, yeah.
25 years old. It's
Yeah.
How High.
Got blunt.
Got weed?
Old classic stoner film. Now I guess you can consider it classic
Right.
film with Red Man and Method Man. So we're definitely going to look and see how that perhaps started a new revolution from Friday to How High in between that time and discuss that film, and that'll be on the next list. So
Definitely
those are,
expanding the worlds of
Yes.
of the film industry and the weed.
Yeah,
So-
you know, you switched to that whole like sort of silly gangster as opposed to like the like growing up in the hood gangster
Yes.
from
Absolutely. Yeah.
from Friday. But we'll get into that as we get into the episodes. And
Very
like
much so.
and then this is one that like it's really weird that like a lot of quote unquote like stoners don't really like I don't know if they like missed it. It was like too late or what it was, but like Grandma's Boy
the
is
best stoner
like
film ever.
I'm like throwing
In my
my hat.
opinion.
I'm
It's up
throwing
there.
my hat in sort of in that ring.
Yes.
Like that's one of the bests.
I want you to take the Frankenstein shit, the deer shit, the green monster, the bling, and the bling bling. And I want you to roll it all into one joint.
No one's ever been brave enough to try that.
One man is. Roll it.
It proves that you can be a stoner and still succeed. Like, that's the best part about that story.
Exactly.
And then you go back to the classic Half-Baked.
Did you ever see the back of a $20 bill, man?
No, I don't know, yo.
Did you ever see the back of a $20 bill? On weed?
You know, huge launching pad for Dave Chappelle. Like,
even most of that cast had that was a big jump for most of them. And but Dave Chappelle more so because he wrote, I believe, most of that movie.
He did,
He wrote that and did some other stuff. So
yeah, so that's going to be another one we're looking to get into. And it's like we said, it's not a top 10 list, you know, like I wouldn't want to rank these because I feel like every single person would rank any of these movies in a completely different rank, depending on the way they identify with any of the characters.
And each one does it a little bit differently.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
some type of different story. Like there's a good baseline, but some of them go every which way. So it works.
Yeah, it's like you have, and we're doing a couple like, you know, umbrella sort of thing. So like, we're not gonna do like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, for example. You know what I mean? We're not gonna analyze just that thing. We're gonna analyze more of how Kevin Smith went from writing about stoners not being a stoner into writing about stoners being a stoner.
Right.
Exactly.
I don't think that's a thing that's well known that Kevin Smith wasn't a stoner when he was writing Clerks, when he was writing all those early ones that that grab people like you and me when we were young.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. So, and those are we'll obviously bring up more as we talk and on the different episodes, but we'll wrap up at the end. Like I said, this is a limited series. What we're building towards is basically Becky's big project to do a full-length movie for The Blunt Truth.
Correct.
And it will still have the main characters, Maggie and MJ.
We'll cover some pretty heavy topics and, well, some not so heavy topics like...
It's kind of like finding buried treasure. You just gotta dig for it, and then you just gotta suck the cock.
In between everything, we'll have some guests. I believe we'll have some people from the movie and people outside, whether people we know, hopefully some other special guests. It's all a big surprise.
Other film nerds or, you know. Like
very much so. Very much so.
Some of those people in to have like we know there'll be crazy conversations, you know.
Right.
Because you know, if you're an actor or you're a crazy film nerd, they're kind of crazy, so, you know.
Yeah. As we wrap up the limited series podcast here, we're going to have all sorts of footage, sound bites, and everything, basically for the public to enjoy the project given to us by Becky.
Are you still lost? So are they, but they're just high.
Yeah, I met this crazy girl over here, you know, was it 4 or 5 years ago now?
4 years ago.
4 years in a month or so.
I swiped right.
Yeah, she swiped right. I swiped right too, and we met at a bar, and she starts talking to me about this movie she wrote. You know, it's like first date vibes, so it's like she's telling me like probably dirtier stories than she should probably tell me, and like
that's what I do.
It's, you know, if you know Becky at all, she's like not afraid. To, you know, this one time I did this like crazy 37 dicks, and I'm like, yeah, in a row.
Finger cuffs.
Finger cuffs. But yeah, she started telling me about her movie, and it's like, you know, like when you first start dating somebody, you don't want to like judge them, you know, on their hopes and dreams, like judge them immediately on their hopes and dreams or anything like that. So like I didn't read The Blunt Truth for
like a year or so.
Yeah, maybe a year, I think. And it wasn't like for not like wanting to or not supporting or whatever. It just like never like I didn't want to become like a part of it. You know, I wanted this to be, you know, I want this to be your thing that you were doing that was like without influence of me. You know what I mean? Like I didn't throw my influence on it. And then we started just, like getting drunk and, I'm a big stoner, so I get high all the time and say stupid shit. And we started just like BSing and writing stuff. And that's how the whole Maggie and MJ episodes sort of like came about. So it's like, I feel like just being around somebody who was a stoner, you could easily put that like stoner perspective into like your writing. So then I finally broke down and read the script, and it's funny. I can't believe how many stories that she told me from her life that are actually in this film. It's sort of bearing a lot of like, I don't know whether it's embarrassment or what, but like,
that makes for the great story is the pull from real life.
That's
what so many
about.
writers have done in general. So it works.
Yeah.
It was like, you have stories that you're like, I can point to the date on this because this major tragedy happened because my mom was out chasing stories as a reporter. So I was
true.
like, hey, buzz, come over to the house. Mom's away. And it's like, it's sort of that. So like I feel like The Blunt Truth as a movie, it's like, it's a voice, it's spoken from a voice that's like not necessarily given a lot of credit or
it's not mainstream.
Yeah, it's like more of a real person's perspective. Like, newsflash, this thing does not happen in New York City. The all of the people are not, all of the actors in the movie are not polished, crazy, like normal looking people with normal looking problems, and coming from a small town where like everybody, some better than others, but like like it's a window into a lot of what people in America are deal with like on a daily basis. What we got to do today? Well, let's get in the car and we ride around the Blunt route, getting stoned,
and that even leads us perfectly into. Becky, why don't you even give us a chance? Because I know since we've become friends as well, I've known this goon for a while. But obviously, you two with dating, you've become friends with myself and my wife as well. Our families get together quite often. And we've had a chance to talk. But the people listening, the people watching, why don't you give them a rundown on where this started for you and what kind of gave you a little bit more of the inspiration?
Sure. So I went to film school. I dropped out kind of like after I started following Kevin Smith, mainly because I just couldn't latch on to everyone else's ideas of wanting to be George Lucas or Peter Jackson. So I said, I want to be Kevin Smith. I wanted to make stories about my friends. I wanted to make stories about girls that were from small towns that didn't look like Carrie Bradshaw and Sex in the City and we're from New York City. I said, I'm from a town where my class was 45 kids. We don't have many options besides fucking each other and smoking weed. So like literally. So
I just think of the social circles involved with everything you just said. And 45 people to pick from.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know how many times Casey's
cuffs.
like
finger cuffs, yeah. I mean, that's legit.
Like Casey, every time we go home, he's like, how many guys in this bar have you had sex with? And I'm like, you don't want to know? All right, Leslie.
Not that many this time.
Oh, it's a Wednesday night. It's slow. They're not on
Slow.
here.
There's not that many people here tonight.
It's cool.
No, I've legitimately, I've been like, it's weird sometimes when we go out, like we'll go home to visit, her parents and stuff. We still live in the same small town, like, go back there. We'll go out to like the local bar. The Gulch, man. Let's go to the Gulch. And it's like
Gulch.
It's called the Gulch.
Yeah. And it's like couple.
Shout out
you know,
Yellow Springs, Ohio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A tiny one. 3,600 is a small town.
3,600 is a small town, but we
Is
always.
it a university town or something like
It
that?
used to be. Antioch University used to be there. John Lithgow's from that town.
Okay.
And like Coretta Scott King used to be his babysitter there, and so it's a subversive, weird place.
All right.
And
It's the Austin of Ohio.
in a way, very much so, but just with none of the money and fun stuff to do at night.
The story about the film is, since I went to Yellow Springs, and the reason I created it was because I wanted girls from my area and from my town to feel like they had the option of doing something. Yes, we are living there. Yes, we feel like the only option we have is to have sex and smoke weed. But at the same time, I wanted a film where we feel recognized, like a film where girls that are over the size of 12 have something where they can be like, oh my gosh, I feel like that movie is for me. You know?
Right.
That's why the movie is created.
See, it allows for like it allows for a normalization of just being sexual. Like everybody's sexual. Like it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter. Like as human beings, we're all like super sexual. Like
Yes.
we get a lot out of it. Like it's like some people define their lives through their sexuality. But it's like, the idea that if someone's not a 10, I don't want to hear about their sexuality.
Exactly. And
To
that
me,
was
it's like a fucking bullshit thing.
So the storyline, especially like it's for a girl that thinks that from movies, she has to be this certain way to get the guy that she always dreamed of, which, of course, is Wesley from Princess Bride.
This is true love. You think this happens every day?
You know, she wants to be
Carrie.
I love Carrie. Duh. But like she thought she had to look like that, but she realized she couldn't because of the way she was built and the way she looks. But she figured out that the only way a guy is going to love her in high school and college is to fuck. So, you know, through her bad relationship, it just evolves into, you know, having sex all the while. She's like, why is this not happening? Why am I not falling in love? Oh, I don't understand. And the whole time, she also has her two friends. You know, some people might call her Jay and Silent Bob, her Cheech and Chong, one that deals the weed.
I mean, I've got sour diesel, which is gonna give you a mental high. I mean, keep your body active, but definitely a mental buzz. Or we've got Bubba Kush. Now that's gonna be a little bit more of a lethargic kind of high, kind of like edibles do.
Her MJ, who's also the most disgusting sexual person you ever hear, but also obsessed with Madonna and doesn't talk very much unless it's in that dialogue.
If he's going up your ass, why can't you go up his? Just make sure you two are both clean down there because only you two know what's been in and out of your own asses.
The main character, while she's going through her sexual liaisons of life, high school, college, and trying to figure out who she is as a sexual person, also and in a relationship and figure out who she is in general. You know, it is almost like a love story for a real woman, you know, and that's what I always wanted to see. I wanted to see a movie that I felt connected with me because there isn't any out there. I can't connect to Bridesmaid. I can't connect to Sex and the City. I can't connect to any of those movies. So
Right.
I wanted to make it.
Well, and the whole thing is that it's a realistic expectation, which is why, to me, and why we can pull this off so well doing this show. I mean, you have the content, but I was fortunate enough to be brought into this project, was with the smoking the weed not being and I'll say the mainstream. It's not about being real or what expectations are. It's about what the mainstream wants you to be or what a lot of people follow in the mainstream.
If it's cool to be real, then realness will be cool. You know what I mean? It's like
Exactly.
that. And it hasn't been cool like in spaces, you know, in our pop culture, it's been cool to be real, like in tiny little spaces. You know? And specific little people could be real, you know what I mean, with flaws and all this kind of shit and still get away with celebrity.
But
it hasn't always happened.
That was my attraction to this project as well, amongst like, you know, there's a lot of these others where it's, you can make the jokes about it and they'll have certain things in some of these movies, but to have the realistic of, again, it's not your Amazonian model type playing the main characters. That was never the intention, which is even better. And then when I know it, like in the stories for, again, I promote going back out to the YouTube series that you did in anticipation for building a full-length movie for this, is there's talk about the realistic views, the people that come in, like those one-off characters that tell their stories. Each episode is a little story for when you go into it, of course. And it's laid out like it should be. There's no like all of a sudden we're just gonna go off the wall with some crazy story and everybody go to White Castle. Like it's nothing like that.
Neil Patrick Harris does not make a guest.
Damn it!
Right, and he talks about the sweet
truth.
muff that they find getting to White Castle. And
I would love Neil Patrick Harris to
As much as we would love for him, Neil.
If you're available, Neil, call us.
Yeah.
Anyways, but and that's the appealing part for this project is that again you can have fun. And obviously, so many of these are related to weed. But again, if you look at a good chunk of these as well, like look at the Big Lebowski, the dude is definitely not your manly expectation for most typical movies, but he gets laid in that movie more times than I don't know what. So someone wants a sperm,
man. He just like if it's there, the dude abides. You know,
right?
Love me, Jeffrey.
And Maggie and MJ have their own story to tell as well, which is, and that's about whether it's sexually, emotionally, physically, it's empowerment for equality, just to break a little bit of seriousness onto the note, but it's what it is. So,
yeah.
So it's like, I feel like the normalization of weed culture has been like a really big positive thing. Like you can see like, they're making movies about back in the Cheech and Chong were making movies back then about hippie stoner burnout dudes, and today the story is still changing. It's still it's still a relevant topic because it's still relatively taboo, even though I don't know many people who haven't.
Well, and that's something to bring up about the project as well is that because you had filmed the YouTube series, like about 3 years ago or so now?
No, about 2.
And even then, it was still set back in an earlier time frame, or at least nothing was specifically said.
Yeah.
But that was the mentality of it. So are
Right.
you going to actually, like, for the full-length movie, are you actually going to define what type of time frame we're looking at?
Yeah,
or
we're going to try and keep it, like, early 2000s. That's the plan.
give some, like, just little, like, pop culture indicators. And
like, smartphone.
Yeah. Like, we're going to have a brick phone. They're going to have a brick phone.
It's like I feel like just the invention of the smartphone has like terminated so many like plot lines that could possibly happen. Like if you're writing, you're like, why don't you just text him then? They're like, damn it, cool, you figured out this whole intricate plot because now we have technology that allowed you to GPS the position.
But that's the great thing is that it falls in line though, because if you look at when a movie like Dazed and Confused was made, that was about 20 years prior than what was than the time. So it fits, and honestly, you also want to tell the story of what fit. Obviously, the inspiration comes from your life, and you were at that certain age in the early 2000s, and it rolls with. So it just those are some of the best projects, besides just getting high, which, duh.
Yeah.
Just telling those little tidbits and everything and be able to build this story off, it's going to be sweet. And we're going to definitely talk more as we go into the other episodes as well.
Oh, most definitely.
So
you started making films and stuff like the second iMovie really like existed as the second you could make movies at your house, Becky was like, I'm gonna make movies in my house. So she started making all these, things in school and like had slew of friends that like some of them just wanted to be around her because they wanted her to, wanted to be in her movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the only reason why I hung up. No, I'm just kidding.
Bitches.
No, I straight had a girlfriends that were like, I'm only hanging out with you so I put me in your movies. And I was like, awesome.
I'm going to be a star.
Yeah.
Put me in movies. I'm ready for my close
Put me in my weird high school movie.
Like my remake
based on Jeremy from Pearl Jam or whatever.
No. We remade
you did.
We did Lady
Alanis
Marmalade. Thank you
Wait,
very
I thought
much.
You did Alanis Morissette, right? Did you do Alanis
No,
Morissette?
that was my first script. Thank you. No, I didn't make that.
Tell me about that. What was your first script?
My first script I wrote in like 9th grade, and I rearranged Jagged Little Pill into a story, and like made a story out of it with like very Basketball Diaries-esque. You know? Yes. So. And
how many blowjobs in the bathroom?
Fuck you.
Why you always got to bring it back to the blowjobs, man? Damn.
I like blowjobs.
Well,
He was trying to get to that 37 mark.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
In a row.
In a row.
Fair enough. And so speaking of what you're going for, besides obviously we all have some type of level of love for the weed.
Mm-hmm.
Which I would think most of the listeners, or even like besides friends and stuff, would have for this project as well. Another great inspiration that goes great with weed as well is the music. But like that has a lot of bearing into like you mentioned, MJ being the
Madonna fan,
the hugest Madonna fan ever. Like what else is going into the project along with that because again, all these movies we talk about, the soundtrack is key.
Yeah.
To a lot. So we need this for this new project as well.
So like for me, one of the things that always interested me about movies was soundtracks. Like I'm an editor by trade. Like if I go on a set or something, people are like, you want to edit? You want to edit? You want to edit? Like, of course I love editing. So when I watch a movie and I see an edit with like a great song, like say Kevin Smith's film, like Dogma, you can't think of Candy Girl without thinking of Salma Hayek busting out her shirt. Like you just can't. Like that is the great song.
That's firmly,
Yeah,
And
I just can't.
Those
stamped on my brain.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, I wanted to be, but also I'm of the age when MTV used to have music videos. So
it's bad that we got to say that, but yes.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
Kids, they used to play like videos that people created based just upon the song.
Yeah.
And they didn't have any other shows.
No, get this.
Right.
MTV.
They had one or
no,
two shows.
No, MTV stands for music television.
Music
What?
television.
No way!
Like,
It's not reality shows. I swear. It wasn't reality shows. There was no reality shows.
This was
anyway.
pre-reality shows for sure, yes.
So when I was...
Maybe the real world. Like we have to
They
get
had the real world. That was it, though. That was it.
True
Stories.
That's not even from the first season, man. Come on. Good God.
Anyway.
Yes.
No, I wanted, like, when I first started, hence the, like, Alanis Morissette, music, whatever. That music has already meant something to me when I'm thinking about editing or video or anything.
Right.
So my first thought when I was younger was, I'm going to be a music video director. I get older, to early 2000s, I'm like, no one watches music videos anymore.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, it's still possible to do that. Just don't make it your main gig.
Yeah.
So it's...
But music is with anybody, especially when you're young. It inspires you. And the whole aspect of wanting strong women, Madonna was the first strong woman that inspired me.
Right.
From high school, I wore everything Madonna wore. I had a country outfit. I had the bindi.
You wore a pointy bra in high school?
That was after, thank you.
Did we
You're
bring
that
out
old.
here? Like
Okay.
she has
You're-
a funny bra that she made.
I did. But
Oh,
you were...
I remember being told about that.
Yeah. You were,
I was like, did we bring that out here?
No. But no.
I mean, if we got to wear that for the finale, I'll put it on. But
No,
so
I didn't.
stay tuned.
Yeah. But like during her, like I got really into her about music time, about, oh, I'm a horrible fan.
Was it Immaculate? What was the name of the record?
There was Immaculate Collection.
See, it's like Scott and I are the same age, and Becky's a little bit younger than us, so it's
Yeah.
like we go Madonna, and our brains go to like the
a
80s.
virgin.
Yeah, like go straight to like a virgin and like
Right.
that kind of stuff. And
Papa Don't Preach, baby.
Papa Don't Preach, like all that.
I
you know,
loved that, but
yeah.
then the age where
But
she got
she
into...
didn't even like get into
Not until
Madonna
mid-90s.
until like
Yeah.
the mid-90s. So that stuff like passed her by, and then she was like, "Oh my god, she also did all these songs from like a while ago." You know?
What do you mean this is not her first album? She's
Like,
awesome.
Here's the
Oh my
thing:
goodness.
if it's not in a movie,
No.
Like if it's not a song that's in a movie or a show or like that's connected to a video in any way, shape, or form, Becky doesn't know it.
No, not really.
Like if she can like draw that line, like she's like, that's Led Zeppelin. Like you know what I mean? Like,
but it's in that movie.
Well, he was in Thor Ragnarok. He started doing the thing. I was like, yeah, that's Led Zeppelin. They have like literally thousands of awesome songs. So,
Right,
like,
exactly.
Like. If it's not like tied to a movie like that,
that's
she
kind of what I
doesn't
do.
know it.
Yeah.
But like that's why I'm the yin. And
Yeah, he's
you're
a
the
music
yang.
guy. I'm a movie guy.
That's true. That is true.
You're a movie guy.
Whoa,
guy. We don't. All right, this is getting too personal. All right.
Well, you should have thought about that before we started. So,
Chicks with dicks that put mine to shame.
Mm-hmm.
That's from Clerks, right? Hermaphroditic porn.
Anyway.
Right?
On that note, that sounds like a perfect time to probably wrap up this first episode here as part of the Blunt Truth Project, guys. So this is just a taste of what we'll be talking about, a little bit more obviously specific into the movies, more of what Becky's going to be bringing to us, the inspiration behind the Blunt Truth. Any final words to get us going before... Because after this, they're going to go into episode 2. So let's finish episode 1 strong. Should we go Casey first?
Well, all I gotta say is like, you know, Becky's poured her heart and soul into some of this stuff, and we're trying to gain interest for this whole project. That's like hence this production right here. You know,
For sure.
doing a little podcast, a little kind of like let people know what this thing is all about. We also like self-produced, you know, like Becky saved up her nickels for I don't know how long.
In other words, if you're ever one of those people that sit there and say support local artists, support the local bands, support the independent stuff, this is a project. If it tickles your fancy the right way,
check it out.
This is the project to help
check it out on YouTube. Check it out on YouTube. Go and see
share it. Tell people.
Share talk about it, like if you like it or if you don't like it.
No, I'm super excited about this, and I hope lots of people like it and enjoy it. We're looking forward to dissecting some films with you boys.
Should be fun.
Yeah.
And what we'll be sure to do, guys, is also when we release episodes and things like that, we'll be sure to post links like to the YouTube, anything else we have going on. I'm wearing the Stoner Sisters hat there.
Yeah, there's merchandise.
There's
so
merch.
If you want.
Stoner Sisters. But there's also shirts, hoodies, different things like that.
Lots of stuff.
And as we get into the main feature film, of course, we'll work on expanding that. What we'll do is post any links, like I said, to the YouTube, the merch stuff, all that. There's still things building. So we'll start posting links and different ways you can reach out to, I'm going to say Becky specifically, but it'll be for the Blunt Truth Project in general. And so as we go back and forth and off the rails with this thing, Becky, is there any final words for episode 1 on this limited series?
No, just check us out. We are on all social medias, so make sure to check us out, and we hope you see you soon.
And guys, next episode, we take a deep dive into the films of Kevin Smith.
Yes.
Snoochie boochies.
Be sure to stick around, listen to episode 2, take that bong blitz, and thank you for listening to Seeing Stoned.
Oh, don't mind if I do, guys. Like, I've been waiting to, like, just pack this thing up here for a second. I'm going to hit it. I don't care what you guys think. You guys can leave. This room's hot. It's hot in here.
Super hot.
Yeah.